Hey guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I made these Finding Nemo inspired ears that are kind of like illusion, if you will, to make it look like they are floating in little plastic bags, similar to in the movie. So if you want to see how I made these ears, then just keep watching. So starting off, you're going to need these clear disc ornaments. I do have these linked in my Amazon storefront for you guys. They need to be 90 millimeter, and you are going to need the kind that come apart in half. They have to come apart or this won't really work. But after marking the curve of the ear using the foam and batting template, which I have linked down below for you guys, I just traced it using a Sharpie, and then I am using a hot knife or a wood carving tool with the knife blade to cut the bottom of the ornament off so that it has a curvature to it. This is what's going to allow the ornament to glue to the headband. It is a very necessary step, so you definitely will need. My wood burning knife is from Hobby Lobby, and it was like $14 at the time, and I just used the little blade in it. And then I did the same thing on the other side, so now I have two halves that are ready to go. And then I have this little Finding Nemo figurine from Dollar Tree, and I just ripped off the little ocean part that was on the bottom of him. To glue him down, I'm going to use a combination of E6000 and hot glue. Hot glue would probably be enough, but I would just worry that over time he would like detach inside the ear and then he would just be like banging around in there. So I would definitely use some super glue or something that will give you a nice strong long time hold. But the hot glue will do a nice job of holding him in place in the moment. And he looks so cool in there, like very much like he's floating. I was really happy with that. And then all of the ornaments came in these little plastic baggies, so I'm just going to reuse it, and I'm going to cut off a portion of the baggie to create the top of the little baggie that Nemo is supposed to look like he's in. You're going to end up cutting these pretty small just to make sure that your ears aren't like ridiculously huge unless you want them that way. But I am just trimming this down, and then I'm going to bundle it using one of my daughter's little elastic hair ties. But before we do that, I am going to glue the two ornaments together, or the two halves together. This is just going to make sure that these don't come apart later on. So I'm doing the thinnest line of hot glue around the rim of the ornament, and then I'm just going to gently push these two ornaments together, or these two halves of the same ornament together. Again, I just really wanted to ensure that I have like a long time seal on these and that they don't come apart. And then going back to the top of the baggie, I'm taking one of my daughter's little hair ties, and I'm just wrapping this around the bottom of the baggie as many times until it's tight enough to hold it securely. And then I am just going to hot glue this onto the top of the ear. However, I won't be doing that until I've assembled the ears fully, because I wanted to make sure that they were placed correctly when the headband's on my head. So we're going to set that aside and start working on the next portion, which is creating the bottom of the ear itself. I decided to use black felt because I wanted it to match the color of the black headband that I was using. I did initially trace the hole just by like putting the felt on top, but I did it way too small. So definitely overcut the little oval that you're making to close up the bottom of the ornament, because you're going to want it a little bit larger than the actual hole so that you can glue it on. So now that it's a little bit bigger, I'm just trimming it down to get it to just the right size and just kind of checking it every time I trim off a little bit. It is a good size now, so I'm just going to apply a thin line of hot glue around the rim of that hole on the ornament, and then I'm going to tap down this felt. Now, I am a dum-dum, and a little piece of felt got caught inside of the ornament, so I had to like peel up the felt and retry. So just make sure that when you're working on this, you're not rushing. Maybe only do a little bit of hot glue at a time and then firmly press that felt down onto the ornament. I did end up having to redo the bottom of that ornament, but we're going to move on to the Dory side, and I will show you guys what it looks like when you don't mess up. So this is what I meant with I got these figures from the Dollar Tree, and I just ended up yanking off the little water portion on the bottom of them that would help them stand up if you weren't using them in this way. And then now I'm opening up my second ornament, saving that little plastic baggie for later, obviously, and then I'm attaching Dory. Now, Dory was a little bit different in shape, so I'm actually going to put glue on her back as opposed to her tail. I did try it with the tail, and it did not hold. So I did a little bit of hot glue and a little bit of E6000, and then I'm just holding her down onto the back of the ornament. Something else to think about is the direction that they are pointed at, because when they're on the headband, the ear is going to be tilted a little bit. So if that's something that will bother you, definitely like put the ornaments with the orientation that they'll be on the headband, and just kind of like think about the placement of your fish. The next step is actually going to be attaching these little ornaments to your headband. So I'm using an ear spacing template that I have linked down below for you guys. And then I'm applying hot glue to the bottom where the felt is on the ornament, and then firmly pressing this down onto the headband. I am sorry that I got a little bit out of frame, but I had to really firmly hold these on to really make sure that that glue is allowed to dry. You can see me there just kind of like bracing the headband onto the glue, and be really patient. Make sure you really let that glue dry. Otherwise you're going to have to try to squeeze your glue gun in to add more, and that will be much, much harder. So you can see how much glue I added there onto Dory. And then I am sitting here just allowing the glue to cool off a little bit, because my glue was way too hot and I was having to hold the ear for much longer than normal. So I'm literally just allowing that glue to pre-dry a little bit, and then firmly pressing it down onto the headband using that ear spacing template. And then it was at this moment that I realized that Nemo was way too far to the side, so I did rip him off and reattach him. And luckily the glue did not show, but it's just, these are the things you gotta deal with when you're making ears. After that, I was ready to attach the little tops of the baggies. This was really hard to get in frame, but I put the headband on top of a lampshade so that I could see how it would look when it's on my head, if that makes sense, because I wanted to make sure that the top of the baggies was sticking out the way that I wanted it to, and that both the tops were symmetrical. So I would definitely prop the ears up and let them sit vertically when you're attaching these, and just a little bit of hot glue will put it right in place. And then I wasn't super happy with the messiness on the bottom of these ears, so I had this blue pom-pom trim and I liked that it kind of looked like little waves. So I decided to add that to the base. This will also help to reinforce the ear, to make sure that they're not wobbly or anything like that. And I just added a thin line of hot glue, and then I'm going to wrap this trim around the back and measure it out, and then cut off the excess. You don't need to use much hot glue in order to attach this, and then I also like to use a lighter to sear the edges of my trim. That just means that it'll stop it from fraying, but obviously be really careful when you're doing that. Don't like catch anything on fire. And then clean off your hot glue strings, and then I'm going to repeat this same step on the other side to add trim on Dory. And that's what these ears look like all finished. I think they came out really cute. I definitely think you could do something with lights with these, because I did a similar pair that was Nightmare Before Christmas themed, and I did add lights to the bottom. So if you guys want to check out that tutorial, I will link that one for you as well, and maybe you could kind of combine the two ideas. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.